Many parts of Wales are protected areas, according to a number of designations. They include 3 national parks, and 5 areas of outstanding natural beauty. National parks. Wales is home to 3 national parks. Snowdonia National Park was established in 1951 as the 3rd national park in Britain, following the Peak District and the Lake District. It covers 827 square miles, and has 37 miles of coastline. Pembrokeshire Coast National Park is a national park along the Pembrokeshire coast in West Wales. It was established as a national park in 1952, and is the only one in the United Kingdom to have been designated primarily because of its spectacular coastline. It covers an area of 629 square kilometers. Brecon Beacons National Park, founded in 1957, stretching from Llandalo in the west to Hay-on-Wye in the east, covering 1,344 square kilometers and encompassing 4 main regions: the Black Mountain in the west, Forest Vower and the Brecon Beacons in the center, and the Black Mountains in the east. Areas of outstanding natural beauty. 5 areas of outstanding natural beauty have been designated in Wales, one of which, the Wye Valley AONB, straddles the Anglo-Welsh border. The Gower Peninsula is a peninsula on the southwest coast of Wales, on the north side of the Bristol Channel in the southwest of the historic county of Glamorgan. Referred to colloquially as the Gower, this was the first area in the United Kingdom to be designated as an AONB in 1956, and covers 188 square kilometers. The Lynn Peninsula extends 30 miles into the Irish Sea from northwest Wales, southwest of the Isle of Anglesey. Much of the coastline and the ex-volcanic hills are part of the Lynn AONB, confirming the peninsula as one of the most scientifically important in both Wales and Britain. The AONB was created in 1956, and covers 155 square kilometers. Anglesey was designated an AONB in 1966, in order to protect the aesthetic appeal and variety of the island's coastal landscape and habitats from inappropriate development. The AONB covers most of Anglesey's 125 miles coastline, as well as inland areas, such as Holyhead Mountain and Mynydd Bod Afon. The AONB covers around 221 square kilometers, about a third of the county, making it Wales's largest AONB. The Wye Valley AONB, designated in 1971, is an internationally important protected landscape straddling the border between England and Wales. It is one of the most dramatic and scenic landscape areas in southern Britain. The River Wye is the 5th longest river in the United Kingdom. The upper part of the river passes through the settlements of Rheda, Bwylth and Hay-on-Wye, but the area designated as an AONB surrounds only the 58-mile stretch lower down the river, from just south of the city of Hereford to Chepstow. The Clwyddian Range and Dee Valley is a series of hills and mountains in northeast Wales that runs from Llandegla in the south to Prestatyn in the north, with the highest point being the popular Mol Famau. It was designated as an AONB in 1985. The Clwyddian Range AONB was extended in 2011 to include the hills around Llangollen, including the Eglwys Escarpment and Llantysilio Mountain, and is 389 square km in extent. Heritage Coast. There are 14 heritage coasts in Wales. They are stretches of outstanding, undeveloped coast in England and Wales, which are not protected by law, but are given special consideration by planning authorities. They are Glamorgan Heritage Coast, 22.5 kilometers. Great Orme Heritage Coast, Gower Heritage Coast, North Anglesey Heritage Coast, 28.6 kilometers. Holyhead Mountain and Anglesey Heritage Coast 12.9 km, Aberfraw Bay, Anglesey Heritage Coast 7.7 km, Lynn Heritage Coast, South Pembrokeshire Heritage Coast, Marloes and Dale Pembrokeshire Heritage Coast, St Bride's Bay Pembrokeshire Heritage Coast, St David's Peninsula Pembrokeshire Heritage Coast, Dinas Head Pembrokeshire Heritage Coast, St Dogmiles and Amp Moley Grove Pembrokeshire Heritage Coast, Ceredigion Heritage Coast 35 km. Sites of Special Scientific Interest. A site of special scientific interest is a conservation designation denoting a protected area in the United Kingdom. SSSIs are the basic building block of site-based nature conservation legislation and most other legal nature geological conservation designations in Great Britain are based upon them, including national nature reserves, Ramsar sites, special protection areas, and special areas of conservation. Sites notified for the biological interest are known as biological SSSIs, and those notified for geological or physiographic interest are geological SSSIs. Many SSSIs are notified for both biological and geological interest. Special areas of conservation. A special area of conservation is defined in the European Union's Habitats Directive, also known as the Directive on the Conservation of Natural Habitats and of Wild Fauna and Flora. They are to protect the 220 habitats and approximately 1,000 species listed in Annex R and II of the directive, which are considered to be of European interest following criteria given in the directive. They must be chosen from the sites of community importance by the state members and designated SAC by and Act assuring the conservation measures of the natural habitat. Special protection areas. A special protection area is a designation under the European Union Directive on the Conservation of Wild Birds. Under the directive, member states of the European Union have a duty to safeguard the habitats of migratory birds and certain particularly threatened birds. Together with special areas of conservation, the SPAs form a network of protected sites across the EU, called Natura 2000. Each SPA has an EU code. For example, the Bury Inlet SPA has the code UK 90150011. Scheduled ancient monuments. Scheduled monuments in Wales are in the care of CADW, the Historic Environment Service of the Welsh Assembly Government. Local nature reserves. Local nature reserves have their origin in the recommendations of the Wildlife Conservation Special Committee, which established the framework for nature conservation in the United Kingdom and suggested a national suite of protected areas comprising national nature reserves, conservation areas, national parks, geological monuments, local nature reserves and local educational nature reserves. There are now 73 LNRs in Wales, covering 55.6 square kilometres.